Hi everybody, and welcome to the World of Micah. Today we are in Lakeland, Florida, where 34 years ago today, Edward Scissorhands was released. And I'd figure I'd come down here to the Southgate shopping center, walk around, show the little spots from this area, talk about this location, and just say happy birthday to my favorite film of all time. On its release day of all days. Now, let's take a closer look. Yeah, December 7th, 1990, Edward Scissorhands was released into the world, and I got my hands on a VHS copy that I still own to this day. It was a gift from my nene, and here's what happened. I became obsessed with this VHS, watched it day and night, day and night, day and night. I was very young, and I never had a nightmare before. I'd never experienced a nightmare or any kind of thing. And one night, it was very windy in Mississippi, and there was a big bush outside of my window as a kid. And that bush would just bang against my window that night because of the wind. And I just watched the movie, and I remember he got mad at that lady, and he turned her bush, Esmeralda, her bush into the devil, you know, and I thought he was outside my window doing that, and it scared me to death. And I came out of my room, and my little brother was in the living room, and he was watching it. I don't know why he was up, but he was watching it, and I looked at the TV, and it was just like this whole thing was happening. Ran to my mom's room crying, freaked out. Dude, you couldn't even leave that VHS in my house. I was absolutely terrified of that film. And then years later I rewatched it, and I was like, oh, I get it. It was just like, it just so happened that was what was, you know, scaring me. And I became obsessed with the film again. And years ago, 2020, I did, in my opinion, the most thorough filming locations for Edward Scissorhands. I'll claim that. There's a lot of filming locations out there of Edward Scissorhands. A lot of people, since I went into the house, were able to get into the house with the previous owner, and so many people did it, but I was the very first. It was really cool. That was just like a dream of mine. And I encourage you to go watch that video, just because for fans of the film, I show pretty much everything inside the house before it was taken over, what it looked like bare, what the backyard looks like bare. I showed the school. There was a few things, there's still a few things that I know where they are. I'm gonna film them someday, but I couldn't because of 2020 and they were closed and everything. But there's a few places that have never been seen, and I'm gonna film those one day. But right behind me, well, that was the beauty salon. Yeah, Edward and Joyce came walking through here, and this is where Joyce was gonna open her beauty salon. Yoga place was in here, but this used to actually be a wine cellar for years, and it was glass. You could go into the building here. Now it's a part of the Bales store, but I have footage in my video of me going in here when they were doing construction. But I also have footage of me going in when I came out here with Adam the Woo. And when he goes in to Joyce's beauty shop, he goes to the back, and the fuse box is open, and he tries to put his scissors in there, and she stops me right before he does. Well, when Adam and I were here, we went back there, and it was open, and I filmed it, and I put that in there too. So if you want to see that, it's a my location video. But right here is where that is now. If you go inside Bales, you'll be inside the store. Now, when I was doing these locations, there was one spot that I could not figure out. I could not figure out where the bank was filmed, because it's literally just a building. It says bank. Obviously, they just put it up there themselves. And there's like a little trim on the bottom. Then it got me thinking, because I used to come down here all the time and look for more filming spots of Scissorhands. I found the trim. And they used the Publix florist building. That was the florist building. If you walked into that room, you would go into a little side of Publix that they had flowers and everything. I think they moved those now inside the actual Publix, but back then there was a door. It would say florist or something, but that was the door. They just put bank above it, and that's where you can see Peg and Edward standing outside. I'm gonna show you what that looks like down here. Say hello, Abby.
Hello, Abby.
And a lot of this has changed to fit Publix looks and everything, the bricks down here. But we're gonna start down here, and we're gonna make our way all the way down I love coming down here and documenting this as much as I can because it looks like a Tim Burton film. Not much has changed. So they park here. Edward gets out. Johnny Depp walks this way. He looks down and he sees Kim and Jim right here. The van is there. By the way, these posts have changed since then, but yeah, they were standing straight ahead, and his van was actually parked right here. This is where they were holding each other, and turned around. You could see Johnny. The point of view was from the van. I believe he was standing like right here or here. This is all from memory, but I loved in that shot the background because right here, Abby, this was all like the same, but you can see the Publix sign in there, and that Hallmark, it said Kim's. It was Kim's Hallmark on the sign, and it still is Kim's Hallmark, and they had the Publix sign on it too. Up here is Kim's. I've stopped in here plenty of times. They have nothing of Edward Scissorhands in here, but it is called Kim's, which is very interesting. So at some point they redid this to I guess fit in with more of the current Publix look. But around the back side here is exactly where the florist entrance used to be. This used to be a parking lot. In fact, you can see where this ramp goes here. This all used to be a parking lot. You used to be able to pull in here and drive, okay? So keep up with me a little bit because it gets a little tricky. So all this, imagine a parking lot. The reason this is here because state ordinance, I'm guessing, to get up because it's a hill, safety. But somewhere here, if you go down the street, man, I haven't done this since my locations. It's cool to revisit this. Somewhere around, I'd like to say here is where, just imagine bank, the whole thing, because this is a parking lot, remember, and that's where it happened because the trim, that trim I was talking about used to come around here, just like it was on the other side. Isn't that cool? Man, I racked my brain about that location for so long, and then I figured it out. I actually talked to a lady by the name of Rose, who is the casting director here in Central Florida, and like kind of confirmed that location with her. Also, across the street used to be a restaurant. I think it was kind of like a Denny's diner. Now it's a law firm, but that is the location where when Joyce kind of took advantage of Edward in the back, playing With These Hands, a great song. Edward gets freaked out and runs across the street. That is still right over there now is the Lopez and Humphreys Attorney at Law building, but that is it. Right there, that's the diner. And see, the trim used to come and it continued back here down the side. No longer does. And that's why it took me forever to figure it out. Because if you didn't know, how would you know? But this Publix does know that they did film Edward Scissorhands in here, because when you walk in the front entrance, there's a nice little plaque inside. Talks about how they filmed Edward Scissorhands in here. And look at that, they have a little miniature in here as well. I actually stopped in, had to get some drinks. I love coming down here and seeing, you know, the locations and everything. Good chunk location shot here, and you get some really good sunsets. Happy 34th birthday, Edward Scissorhands. Glad I got to come down here and celebrate. Tell you happy birthday. And I'd like to do something one day with the locations of this and Ernest and a few other things. Maybe I could do like a bus tour. Would anybody do that? If I offered a bus tour? Show you all the spots in one day. Maybe charge to be able to get a, you know, rent a van and some gas. Be something I can maybe do in the future. There were other movies that were shot here too. The one and only Ivan on Disney Plus. Bryan Cranston, Danny DeVito, Edward Scissorhands. I'd love to shoot a movie here too. That'd be fun. Man, I love this architecture. So cool. And those lights too, come on now. They will illuminate. I'm not sure what time they cut on. But a lot of this has changed since the film. There were so many different businesses back in the day, even like in 2015 when I first started coming here. Well, I actually came here in 2012 for the first time. But when I started filming it, 2015, it was a lot different back then too. Right there's where they went in. She was like, come on, Edward, we got to get you sharpened up. It's cool. And there is a salon here now, the Strand, which is in the same font as the Southgate. I love that. Kudos. I could stand here all day and look at this. It just looks so cool. And it's a real Publix. I shopped at the Publix. Give them my business, you know. Every time I'm here, I just like to come out here and see this. I don't know why. It's my favorite movie, and it's a piece of the film. I can always come and see it. And it's like every time you come down here, it's like, oh man, I'm living the movie. You know, that's why I do these filming locations. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with movie making. I'd never seen a filming location before. And the first time I ever went to Hollywood, went to Universal, saw some of the filming locations, I was like, oh my God, it's like a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real place. In my mind, you know, movies are magic. You know, that wasn't real life. So now when I see filming locations as an adult, I use that word very loosely, it's just something magical. So I'm glad I got to be here for my favorite film. I'm not wearing an Edward Scissorhands shirt or button or anything. I don't even have an Edward Scissorhands tattoo. That movie means more to me than most people will ever know. I was waiting for the sun to go down, so I drove down to the Polk Theater here. I've seen, not Edward Scissorhands here, but I've seen Ed Wood in Plan 9 here. Would love to see Edward Scissorhands here. In fact, I would love to host a viewing of Edward Scissorhands here. Talk about the filming locations. That'd be fun. They're not showing Edward Scissorhands tonight. I think there's a Christmas party happening tonight. Yeah, I have a photo of us standing right here, me and Abby. It said Ed Wood and Plan 9 double feature. Showing Elf. Oh, that's cool. They've got their movie posters. Right there's Gone with the Wind and Christmas Story. Neat. Underneath the marquee. I love this. There's like people's names. I don't know any of these people. But that's cool that they've got George Jenkins. I know who that is. He founded Publix. That's cool. Citrus and Chemical Bank. I'm not sure who these other people are. I'm sorry. However, this is a beautiful, yeah, see there's a private event tonight. This is a beautiful theater. Cool. Oh, they're showing A Wonderful Life. That's cool. Yeah, they got the ticket booth. This looks like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Sharon Tate walks up to the ticket taker and she's like, what if you're in the movie? She's like, you're in this? And she's like, yeah. Looks like that theater. All right, sun is down. I'm gonna head back over and walk around the Southgate. Just wanted to walk over here and see it because it's like Hollywood. There's some more over here. Hazel Haley. That's a name. That's a cool name. It's really neat, huh?
It's really neat. I love that this is the original movie poster.
Yeah?
It says
Is it?
American Online Keyword Elf.
Oh, wow, it is. That's old school. November 7th, day before my birthday. I saw this in theaters. And not a lot of people know this. Actually, not a lot of people know about this film I'm about to reference. 1990, there was a film filmed in Orlando, Florida, Universal Studios, because it just opened. Filmed out their new soundstage, and they needed a building to be the hospital. Well, they used this building right here, the Mid-Florida building now. I believe it's a bank, but this was from the opening shot of Shockma, featuring Roddy McDowall from Fright Night. If you're into horror, did millions of other things, including Planet of the Apes, and also had Amanda Wyss in it, which I know her from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and also in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Movie was about a monkey. Something happens in his surgery, and he goes berserk and starts hunting down people inside the hospital. It's a great campy movie. I believe the whole thing is on Tubi or YouTube. I did the filming location years ago, and yeah, it's that building right there. No one's ever done it before. I think I was the first. I have to be the first because I've scoured the internet. It took me forever to find that location. So not only Edward was filmed down here, but Shockma too. All right, heading back over to Southgate now. This is an old theater my grandmother used to go to when she was a teenager, when she lived here in Lakeland. Yeah, this is totally worth the wait for that sun to go down. And the lights are changing here every so often. They will change around. I love that it's the red and green. So awesome. Yeah, that's cool with the moon right there. It's very cinematic, that's for sure. Yeah, this is, man, I wish that light wasn't so bright on the camera, because, there you go. It's illuminated very well. It's missing a few lights and everything, but that's okay. This whole area here is extremely well lit at night. I wanted to see what it looked like on the backside here. Yeah. Very cool, very neat. You get all kinds of light rays when you film out here with the way they have all the different lights. Yeah, this is like the best way to see it right here. Underneath this light. There you go. Let me see if I can block that with my, there we go, block that with my hand there. Wow, how cool is that? Everybody driving by is looking at me like, what the heck is that guy doing? Got my hand over the camera a little bit, so blocking the, see? Blocking the light here because the light is right above me. And there we go. Oh, you guys can see it. Okay, I'm really saying goodbye this time. I just figured I'd throw this in there. I love that it changes. Back up just a bit and show you some more angles. I will say that I think Edward would be proud to know that they decorated this for the holidays. There's always that discussion of, is Edward Scissorhands a Christmas movie? It came out in December. The end of it, they're getting ready for their annual Boggs Christmas party. But when I was a kid, it wasn't a Christmas movie to me. It was just a anytime movie. This is so cool. This light, I wish it would go. I love it. I know it needs to be here for safety, but I wish it would go. This needs to not be blocked. because you have to go to the side. You still don't even get a good shot. Nonetheless, it's a beaut. Okay, I'm really going this time. Happy birthday, Edward.